Okay, so a lot of the people had been asking if you could skip Kafka over Jing Yuan because you already pulled for Jing Yuan, right? So let me be blunt about this issue. If I had no resources, and if you by any chance want to come up with different teams here and there, then Jing Yuan is pretty solid lightning DPS. So by logic, you don't need Kafka because they don't really work together anyways, right? But here's the thing. When you're using Kafka, she has a lot of flexibility when it comes to team building. So depending on what characters you have or what you have worked on, it means that Kafka could be more beneficial than Jing Yuan. And also, when you're farming for Jing Yuan, right? Let's say you have Jing Yuan and you pull for Kafka, you probably have some leftover relics that you cannot use on Jing Yuan, but you can on Kafka. Like for example, you get a double crit relic that has speed and attack. And by any chance it rolls everything on speed and attack, it's not good for Jing Yuan, but you know you can use it on Kafka, right? So in that sense, Kafka acting like a safety net for useless relics that you might not be able to use on Jing Yuan, I think that is already a big benefit for your account. Because that means that you have 2 DPS already. Another thing is that there are some people who uses Jing Yuan with Bronya, yes. But Bronya fits better with Kafka team, in my opinion. Even if you have Kafka and Jing Yuan, you can use them both. So that will be another benefit that you have by going for Kafka. Let's talk about bad things about Kafka. She needs level 10 ultimate to be great. I was suffering so much for a while trying to figure out why my Kafka wasn't doing so great. I did try to use her with like different dot characters. I also tried to use her in crit build. I also went with solo carry, right? And it wasn't that great. And I was like, why is Kafka bad? And why are everyone like saying Kafka is OP compared to Jing Yuan? Because my Jing Yuan is fully built and he does a lot of damage. And my Kafka compared to Jing Yuan that I have right now, it was nowhere near. And we were talking about when my trace levels were 666. When I got her ultimate to level 10, turns out she's pretty great. If Kafka is easier to build compared to Jing Yuan, there is that trade-off. You could end up using a lot of Trailblaze power farming for your crit rate, crit damage pieces, whereas you can just like use any of those mid pieces. For example, like this, attack body with like literally nothing, right? This is why my Kafka is tanky, guys. But anyways, she can use all these garbage pieces that you cannot use on other characters. But then again, as F2P, building a character is very expensive. And there's also a risk, okay? I think it's a risk of us getting another dot character, 5-star by the way, in the future. And when that happens, then there is a good chance that all the 4-star dot character you have been working on now just for Kafka could become power crept. When that happens, of course, even for me, I'll get salty because, you know, I've been working on Luca and, you know, I'm still debating on whether if I should be going for level 8 talents here. This is so costly. So for the answer to the question, if I have Jing Yuan, should I go for Kafka? The solid answer is no. But they are different characters. Although they are built to do damage, like I would think of Kafka as like a future-proof character. Not really future-proof, but should I say she has higher potential compared to Jing Yuan. So when that is the case, I would probably put more value onto Kafka. And then you know what they have done for Kafka, right? Their PVs were really great. They've made one for Bilibili. They also made great PV for the English community as well. And her model looks perfect, right? She has so much gimmicks to her model, right? I didn't notice this until later. The spider thing, right? And then her technique, as you can see, Hoyoverse knows what they're doing. For those who went for Kafka, even if you had Jing Yuan, congratulations. I think you did a good choice. And of course, for those people who are skipping Kafka for the future characters, like for example, 5-star Dan Heng or Fushan, you're also making the right choice. Because this game, you can literally be F2P and beat Memory of Chaos 10. I'm not gonna say you can get full stars, but depending on the situations, whether if you got super lucky or not when it comes to summoning, you can definitely beat everything, right? So when that is given, it doesn't matter anymore. Going for the character that you like is really important. And of course, I was comparing E0S1 Kafka versus E0S1 Jing Yuan. So things can be a little different if you only have one copy of Jing Yuan and one copy of Kafka. It really depends. But my Jing Yuan dishes out like about 200k damage here and there, like per cycle plus. And my Kafka also does something around there. If I use that character, if I use her all by herself, she does a little bit less. But I think it's one way of you to damage control, I guess. Instead of going for another dot character, you just do a solo carry Kafka for the future. and you're using all those Trailblaze power for something else instead. Like, for example, building your support characters better. Like, I recently built my Asta for my Kafka, and it's been pretty great. Like, my Asta has crit rate, crit damage. I like it. I need to max out her ultimate so that I give 50 speed or something like that. And I also had been working on my Locha. I need to build him a little bit better. I thought he was overhealing, but in the recent Memory of Chaos, it feels like the enemies are stronger and they're more annoying. And they, like, dominate you and, like, they control you. So, it's such a headache. I can't auto them anymore. I also found out that I gotta work on Bailu or maybe Jeopard if I want to stay alive. Do you want me to be blunt? Don't pull for Kafka. It's not recommended because she's expensive, all right? So when it comes to team building for Kafka, right? Or just overall in Honkai Star Rail, what you do is you add a DPS, you add a sub DPS. You can come up with one main DPS, one support, one debuff, or maybe two supports and a healer or shielder, right? But especially with Kafka, it is always easier for you to build her with a team with another dot character. So for example, you could be using Luca if the enemy has physical weakness. Same thing for Sampo. I hate him so much, by the way. You can also use Serval. It all really depends on the enemy's weakness. Or you can probably override all these weaknesses by using Silver Wolf as well. So she's very, very flexible when it comes to team building. So take all that thing into your mind before you pull for Kafka or before you decide to skip on her, okay? And overall, I just hope that you would get all the characters that you want in this game, because in the end, if you can play this game for free, it is what I recommend. Because right now, the economy is crashing and it costs so much for you to even feed yourself food, right? I've been eating bread from convenience store. They're like $1 is great. But I've been having so much diarrhea. I'm just like, dude, I'm literally trading money for my health. I spend less and I have diarrhea. I'm like, oh no. If I don't want diarrhea, I need to eat healthy. But yeah, I hope economy gets better soon. I hope the war ends soon. It's just so hard to live right now. So for those of you guys who's suffering, I hope you guys are gonna get better soon. All right, that's it for the discussion.